Well, the global COVID-19 death toll this week surpassed 4 million. Many recent deaths have been in India, which experienced a ferocious new wave of the virus. While infection rates there have started to fall, many people are still living with the lingering effects of long COVID. DW reporter Manira Chowdhury is in Delhi, where she met with some of those struggling to recover.
It's been almost a month since Deepak Agarwal came back home after a long bout in the hospital. After losing 25 kilos and still very weak, Deepak is now slowly trying to get back to a state of normalcy and the life he had before it was disrupted by a severe COVID-19 infection.
The only issue which came to my mind is at the age of 60, whether I will be able to win upon this battle or not.
After struggling initially, Deepak managed to get admitted to a hospital when his workplace intervened. Of the 50 days he spent there, 40 were spent in the intensive care unit. He says he lost track of time, of days and nights, and that the time he spent lying in a room crammed with patients broke his spirit.
Worst thing which happened is at the end of a 10th or 12th day, my legs, I found that my legs are not working. They are not the part of my body. I was not able to cope up with the oxygen mask, what they have put. And I was really feeling helpless. I said, there is no point in leaving now because I can't cope up with this pressure. I left a message to one of my eldest cousin brother that I am not going to survive. I think tomorrow is going to be my last day.
Each day he could hear people screaming with pain and discomfort. And each day he saw someone dying. Deepak knew he was fighting this infection at a time when the entire city was struggling hard to cope with it. It was his 2 children, he says, who gave him the courage he needed.
The first feeling that was there with me 24/7 was the fear of losing him. You want to return back to normal. You just want to see those 4 members of your family together on the dining table.
Kanika says the experience with their father and the sights they saw at the hospital have made all of them stronger as a family. One of Deepak's biggest regrets was missing his retirement ceremony from an organization he spent nearly 4 decades in and a day he had spent months preparing for. But he's turning over a new leaf now, and his entire focus is on his health. He wants to live a long, healthy, fulfilling life.
The post-COVID time is more tougher than the COVID time. I'm really finding it very difficult to cope up with me, the recovery time, because it's already 1 month. It's already 1 month, I'm not able to walk even the 10th step now. So it's what doctors are telling, it will take 6 months.
One small, slow step at a time, he is trying to move towards full recovery. But with every task still a challenge, he knows it will take a long time.
DW correspondent Nimisha Jaiswal joins me now from Delhi. Nimisha, the health system there in India was totally overwhelmed by the recent wave, and we heard in that report that some patients saw other patients dying and heard them screaming. Does India now have to cope with a part of society that's under a post-traumatic stress?
Well, Rebecca, the massive second wave India saw over several months has definitely had a physical, emotional, and even a financial impact on thousands of people. It is very common to find others who have heard of deaths amongst family as well as friends. And this has, of course, had quite an impact. But on the other hand, now that India is slowly easing restrictions, the major cities are unlocking, it is also surprising to see how quick the bounce back is. The markets are being overrun again. There are crowds at restaurants and malls again. So it's clearly that there are both sides to the story. There are many who are still suffering, who are still grappling with the loss of loved ones. But there are also those who really want to get back to normal life. There's also incentives because of the massive economic impact of the second lockdowns all around the country. And this is something which almost everyone is very concerned about.
So a new variant's the focus of the fight against COVID now?
Yes, the government especially is trying to make sure that they are not caught unawares the way many critics say they were around the second wave. The Indian government was criticized for not realizing how difficult the Delta variant could become for the country, especially as it was detected as early in December. And in March, weeks before the second surge, the health minister was saying that India is in the end game of the fight against COVID. Now there's a new mutation called the Delta Plus variant. There's still only a couple hundred cases around the world, but India has already declared it a variant of concern. Experts do say that much more research sequencing will be needed to find out if this truly can be declared a variant of concern, if it is more transmissible, and if it is more deadly.
Now, in terms of fighting off a third wave, their vaccinations are expected to be key. How is the vaccination rollout going?
Well, India did struggle with the vaccination rollout, Rebecca, especially when it opened it out to everybody above 18 in the month of May. The numbers have now improved, supplies have now improved, but still the numbers are hovering around 4 or 5 million a day. The Indian government is aiming to get the entire adult population vaccinated by the end of the year, and the vaccination rate will have to double to be able to reach that. And while supply is steady, the Indian government will have to actively fight against vaccine hesitancy, not just in rural India, but in urban India as well, to make sure that the third wave, even if it comes, is not as crushing as the second wave was.
All right, DW's Nimisha Jaiswal speaking to us from Delhi. Thanks very much. Let's take a look now at some other developments in the pandemic. Pfizer-BioNTech wants to authorise a third dose of its vaccine in the US. The company says a third jab within 12 months could boost immunity and help ward off new variants. The African continent has seen its most dire pandemic week with over 250,000 new cases, according to the World Health Organization. Only 2% of Africans are fully vaccinated. Vietnam's largest city and economic hub is entering a 2-week lockdown. The 9 million inhabitants of Ho Chi Minh City are only allowed to leave their homes to buy essentials.